Yes team, welcome back to the channel and welcome to this video in particular, which is the Nottingham Outlaw Aquabike race recap. So I'm going to take you through the day, and just for context, if you guys are interested in what this event actually is and if you don't know what I'm going to be talking about, I suggest you take a look at this video that I've just put up, which is the taper week, so the week prior to the event. In that video I explain a lot more in detail the training, nutrition and the mindset side of things in getting ready for the Nottingham Outlaw Aquabike. So bringing us on to today, we actually packed up the car and travelled down on the Saturday. Nottingham is about an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half away. It's probably on the border of you being able to sort of travel the same day as a race. So made the decision to travel down the night before, just stayed in a travel lodge and took everything we needed. So we travelled down on the Saturday straight to registration to check the bike in to T1. Had a little bit of a carb load on the evening to wake up literally down the road from the race to make sure that we're there on time, nice and early. Right, so got all our bits and bobs, got our swim cap, got our registration stuff. Gonna get my numbers on the bike now and then leave my bike in T1 overnight for obviously ready race day tomorrow. Just entered into T1 to drop off the bike and gonna do a little bit of a recce just to see where things are. There are thousands of bikes here, as you can see, so I want to make sure that I've got my bearings once I come out of the water and I know where I'm going to find my bike to then get out of T1 onto the road. Bike racked up in T1. We are number 1694 and also just looking out at the lake right now. That is a long swim, so we're starting off at that point down there all the way up to these hub buoys, the yellow ones there, round and then back down to that point down there. So this is actually going to be the swim exit. It's not all the way back to the start point, but the swim exit is here and my bike is about 500 meters down there somewhere. Here, look, the team mascots. You've been chilling, have you? Yeah. Catching the rays? Yep. Catching the sun? Yep. What do you think? Do you think of the lake? Lovely and flat, isn't it? Bit long though. So as you can see at this point the bike is wrecked in. We went to Rudy's for pizza, brownie, bit of ice cream, bit of carb loading before the day in itself, and then it was back to the hotel just to relax. And if I'm honest, for these events and races I know fully that you never ever sleep properly, and I knew that was going to be the case, so I just wanted to chill out, just relax, make sure that everything was set up for the morning, just ready to go. So it was a nice early start. I think I got up at about 3:45 in the end, 3:45, and got up, did a little bit of foam rolling, had some breakfast which we brought with us. We brought a little mini fridge to put some breakfast stuff in there. We stayed about 20 to 30 minutes away from the event, so as I say, that time in the morning it was actually pretty clear. There was traffic going into the event because obviously everybody's getting in and around there at the same time, but I've got to be fair to the Outlaw staff, everything was really efficient. The car kept moving, we parked up, there was plenty of portaloos, all those sorts of things, and I was pretty much ready to go. So once I'd done all the checks on the bike, made sure my nutrition was ready, made sure that my towel and my transition stuff was all next to my bike ready to go, it was time to walk down to the swim and get ready for the swim. As you can see, this is my swim for the day, and if I'm honest, knowing what I know now, I definitely held back on the pace a little bit, but there was one thing in consideration for this, and this is definitely a learning curve and something that you guys can take on board as well. The wetsuit that I was wearing, I was 90 kilos and it fit me okay. Going into this event I was 95 kilos, so I was 5 kilos heavier, and I knew about it in the wetsuit. It was very snug on the shoulders and really tight around my neck, which meant that I was a little bit restricted. And for those who don't know, when the wetsuit is tight, it does pull down on your shoulders and your back, and it can pull a little bit of a curve in your lower back. And I definitely felt that, and I just could not get into a flow with my swim. it was just really difficult on my shoulders. And the lucky thing was that I'd done quite a little bit of swim volume up until this point, so my shoulders were able to get through it, but I knew that that was more of a shoulder dominant swim versus a back dominant swim. So the pace was off, the wetsuit didn't help, but also I hadn't done enough open water swimming to practice my sighting, because I'm not very good at that, if I'm honest. But the one thing that saved me is, as you can see, the shape of the lake in itself is a rectangle. So because of that, I actually used the bank to the left hand side as an advantage. So I made sure that the majority of the time I was actually turning my head to the left to check against the bank that I was swimming in a straight line. And looking at the map in itself, there's not actually too much zigzagging going on. It's actually relatively straight in terms of that. And then the loop back round, came back round, and then obviously the swim exit isn't as far down as the actual entrance in itself. There's a little bit of chunk, but you can see as I've turned the sort of last corner and the last straight, I've gone, right, let's just try and send it. And I've got my pace right down to like 120, 125 per 100 meters for a short gap of time. Before then, the inevitable, everybody's trying to get out of the water at the same time. So it was a little bit crowded coming out of the swim exit into T1. But all in all, considering the amount of times that I've done open water swimming this year, considering the wetsuit was a little bit tight and stiff, considering my technique was a little bit all over the place, I'm really chuffed with that time. That was 37 minutes 14 seconds for an average pace of 156 per 100 meters. Definitely something that I want to bring down in the next training block for sure. So then got into T1 and I got a PB in my T1. Ironman Tembe, I got 23 minutes for T1. I think I misunderstood that it wasn't an opportunity to sit down, put Netflix on and just chill out for a bit. This one I actually got in 9 minutes, which is still very slow, but it's better than 20 odd minutes. So 9 minutes for my T1, which is great. So got my bike set up, got ready to go, then hit the bike course. So let's take a look at the bike. The bike in particular, 55.35 miles for a time of 2:32.16 and 1,670 feet elevation, which means that this was actually a really nice flat course. So if we're looking at some of the metrics for speed and heart rate, which I primarily for this went off heart rate. I don't have power pedals, so the power that comes out on here on Strava is a guesstimate. So when I was looking at this in particular, I was like, right, actually, I want to stay top end of zone 3. So top end of tempo was my goal for heart rate, to stay in around about 150 to 155 beats a minute. And as you can see, the average for the duration was 155 beats a minute. And speed was 21.8 miles an hour average, which, considering this was done on a road bike, not a TT bike, I was really chuffed with this in particular. So when we're taking a look at the course, as you can see on the elevation, it is a really nice flat course, so you can get the hammer down. And as I say, my goal was to stay within that region of 155 beats a minute, 150 to 155. And I had it in my mind, I was like, right, the feed station, because there's only one feed station on this course, was at 34.9 miles. And my goal going into this was like, right, I'm going to put the hammer down until feed station 1 and reassess how I feel. And to be honest with you, I got to the feed station and I felt really good. Clearly the training block that I'd just done, clearly the taper week that I'd had really put me in a strong position on the bike, and I just felt that I could keep going. I had a lot of energy on this day. So also, not to mention that I pulled back quite a lot on the swim, so I did save a little bit of energy on that as well, which definitely helped towards the bike. So feed station, I grabbed myself a high five, a water, a banana, because I had the gels with me already. And after that, I was like, right, I'm just going to get in the bin for the last 15-20 miles and just see ultimately if I can really push it and hold on for the last part. And it's safe to say, looking at this, that I certainly did exactly that. And as I say, there was a little bit of a climb on the back end towards coming into the last part, but coming into T2, I felt really, really strong. So I think the thing that's nice about the Aquabike is you are done at T2. You're finished. And I think that was quite surprising for a lot of people at this point. So really important reminder that if you are sticking to your strategy and your event, stay to your plan, because everybody at this point here is starting to calm down, getting into T2. That's my finish line. So when I'm flying past it going at 25, 30 miles an hour to get into T2 for a quick transition, that's because I'm done, not because I'm getting ready to run. So I stuck to my plan, you stick to yours, whatever your plan is, and then obviously stay consistent to maintaining your focus towards that plan. So yeah, as I say, got to the end, got into T2, timing chip went off, that was my time, done, finished. So the result for the day, for the Aquabike, came 15th position wise, and looking at the swim, if you look at the others above me on that board, you can definitely tell there's a bit of a gap. I came in at 37.42, so definitely got to work on shaving at least 7 minutes off that to get it in and around the half an hour mark, which I think with technique, wetsuit and exposure to open water swimming a little bit more, I will definitely be able to do. T1, really got to work on stop faffing around. I think I actually went to the toilet, which an unwritten thing is to just go in your wetsuit, but I just went to the toilet, so probably don't do that next time. Maybe speed it up on getting your bike out of the rack. Not trying to talk to everybody, being that guy. And then, as I say, the bike, 2:31.54, which, as I say, considering I was on a road bike, I was really, really chuffed to bits with that. I think if I was on a TT bike, you're looking at trying to get, what, 10, 20 minutes off that time. So all in all, considering, really, really chuffed with the day, really chuffed with the event considering, and ultimately it gave me a lot of momentum now moving on to the next one. There's definitely a lot of things I can learn from this experience in terms of my swimming, my sighting, technique, wetsuit. Also with my position on the bike, I've really got to get used to closing that hip angle. That basically means getting my back over more so I can get into that lower position in that TT position. So there's a handful of things that now moving forward in my next training block I'm going to be working on, and I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't done this event. So this is the nice thing about events. Yes, they're outcomes and you want to get over the finish line, but they're also learning opportunities for how you can improve your process within your training to whatever you're training towards. So that was a very short, sharp, quick recap of the Outlaw Aquabike. And as I say, if you haven't seen Taper Week yet, click the link above. But also I'm going to put a link up in and around here for what a full training week looks like for you training for a full distance Ironman. If you are curious at this point and you found this video on a search to understand what training looks like, then I highly recommend you take a look at the full week of Ironman training to give yourself a gauge of what to expect and how to adapt and pivot your lifestyle, your training and your food for an event such as a full distance Ironman. So thank you for being here on this video, and also share in the comments something that you would like to see yourself moving forwards into your training journey, your fitness journey, whatever it is that you're working towards. I'd love to hear your feedback, your questions, and also something that you might like to hear to get some value from. Thank you for being here. Consider liking, consider subscribing, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.